A massive thank you to Jonathan, Lundbox, ESP, Adam and AAO for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with the penultimate round of our F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back today for the start of a new Grand Prix in F1 22. It's the Portuguese GP. Yes, Portimao has returned to the game, of course, and I really wanted to add it into this season. Whether it's going to be a regular feature in this series, I haven't quite decided just yet. Perhaps it'll depend on how the race goes today. But of course, if you missed out on the video that went live on Saturday from Mexico, I would highly recommend going back and checking out, of course, the championship fight. 2 races to go. It is really, really heating up. Of course, there will be spoilers in just a moment, so this is your warning. But just quickly as well, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the support on the channel. 2,000 subscribers away now from 100k. Still aiming to try and hit that before the Bahrain Grand Prix at the start of 2023. So, if you're watching this, you haven't clicked that big red button, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated if you would do so down below. But championship-wise then, the gap has been carved down to just 14 points between myself and George Russell as we head into the penultimate race of the year this weekend. We have just got to continue trying to do what we've been doing over the last couple of races and basically just keep trying to win Grand Prix between now and the end of the season. Of course, Brazil next time out will be a bumper sprint race weekend as well, so there is plenty of excitement but plenty of opportunity between now and the end of the season. But yeah, let's head back then to Portimao. I think this is only the second time I've driven it on this game, so this is probably going to go interestingly. Well, so far this weekend, it looks like Portimao might be the great equaliser, and we have got one slightly less worn-out gearbox, but it's at over 40%, so I'm going to use the one we've got in the car now this weekend, and then put the other one in ready for the sprint weekend in Brazil. So that is kind of the plan of action at the moment. But yeah, heading into Q3, though, looks like, Charles Leclerc again, he could be within a shot of pole. Lando Norris is always quick. George Russell, of course, you can never count him out. But we're going to need a really good lap if we want to be right there at the front. Just lacking about 3 or 4 tenths or so. That felt like a pretty clean and tidy first lap then here in Q3. There is a small threat of rain come the end of the session, as there we go, Charles Leclerc goes fastest on a 1:16.3. Across the line, 1:16.2 for ourselves. That is definitely my best lap so far of the weekend. But will our teammate George Russell be able to go any quicker? Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. We've just seen the flash. The rain has arrived right at the end of qualifying then here in Portimao. Are we going to be able to find any sort of improvement? Surely now. Depends how heavy this rain is going to fall, but surely we won't be able to find anything on this final run there. George Russell posted a 1:15.6 there to set himself fastest, but we might be confined to P5 here on the grid. Honestly, I think this might be, with the exception of that corner, an even better lap than one I did last time, but just not enough grip on the circuit to only be half a second away is not bad going there as out of the final corner. Still going to put us P5. It's not great, but it'll have to do. Let's get into it though. It's time for the Portuguese Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to Portimao, one of the busiest towns in the Algarve and a breathtaking destination that brings tourists from all around the world to the shores of southern Portugal. Today it's the backdrop for the latest round of the Formula One World Championship, and with a circuit this wide, We could be in for a lot of exciting wheel-to-wheel action today. So Portimao features 15 turns over the course of its 2.9-mile length. 9 are right-handers, 6 are to the left. This is a track with a lot of uphill action, which only accentuates the importance of getting those exits right, especially at turn 4, where a good line can present opportunities to pass on the way into turn 5. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Mr. Monaco, Charles Leclerc and Ricciardo, Théo Pourchaire, Bottas, Russell, they've taken a grid penalty, and Oscar Piastri. Latifi, Tsunoda, Alex Albon and Magnussen, Joe, Ticktum, Jehan Deruvala and Mick Schumacher, Ocon, Stroll, Schwartzman, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Felipe Drugovich. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Boy, oh boy, do we have an opportunity today then here. George Russell with some grid penalties, but he is going to have a fast car underneath him throughout the entirety of the afternoon. 33 laps ahead of us around this Portimao circuit, starting from P4. And again, you know, the qualifying pace is never always there. Race pace, we have still been leagues and bounds above most of the other teams this season. So fingers crossed we're going to have a bit of an advantage here. Looks like most cars starting on the softs with the exception of Charles Leclerc. But we've just got to nurse that gearbox today. That's going to be the key. We have taken a gamble going on this strategy, but we have to. 14 points back, 2 races to go. We have to gamble. Of course, the other thing we have to remember as we head into the Grand Prix today, I'm still yet to win 3 races in a row on F1 22. We have been cursed on more than one occasion in the past on this game. I can get 2 quite easily. I've done that on a fair few occasions, but 3 in a row continues to elude me on this title. So let's wait and see whether today we can finally break that curse as we head our way up towards the start-finish line then. Just got to try and make sure that we're nice and early on the launch there. Got to try and see if we can hang on to positions there. Mainly as long as we don't end up behind George Russell. Right, here we go then. 5 red lights on the grid for the Portuguese Grand Prix. It's going to be lights out and away we go. Trying to modulate the wheel spin as best as possible as we head down in towards turn 1 there. Both Ferrari cars are going to get around us as we've got someone trying to dive bomb up the inside. We'll jump out of the way there. I think that was Oscar Piastri in the Alpha Tauri there, so good little start by him as whoa! We're going to try and go 3 wide with Daniel Ricciardo out in the first couple of turns there. Yellow flags out. Someone's had issues. As now, unfortunately, we've already got George Russell on my radar here. He is on the soft compound tyres as well, so it looks like he's going with the same strategy as us today, as we'll slide back up the inside there of Oscar Piastri. Full lock-up on the front inside wheel, but we get the car slowed down and we do make it work there. So down 2 places off the start of this race isn't the end of the world for us on F1 22, to be honest, but both Ferrari cars are looking very, very strong here. We've seen how racy Charles Leclerc can be on more than one occasion this season, but Sergio Perez leading the way at the front of the field, still desperate to try and get another Red Bull victory under his belt. But yeah, Danny Rick, of course, won his a fair share of races with Red Bull in his time. Has not had much success, though, with his team at Maranello. Of course, Charles Leclerc absolutely the #1 within that organisation, but I'm sure Daniel Ricciardo would still love to try and, outscore him whenever he can there as heading out through the final corner. Going to try and use some battery, see if we can get a run on Danny Boy back in towards the first corner there, side by side, as we head down the start-finish straight with the Australian. Surely we've got the inside for turn 1. This is going to be a done deal. Make sure we give him some room, but we are through. We're back into P5 at the end of lap 1 then, so only 1 place lost. Next up, though, Charles Leclerc. I mean, we have got, I know I keep saying it, 5 cars from 5 different teams making up the top 5 here. The top 4 have all got different power units as well, which is always an impressive feat in F1 22. You just don't quite get this sort of diversity and unpredictability in the real sport. Fastest lap of the day as we start lap 3. That's what we love to see, as Perez trying to make a bit of a break for it ahead of Lando Norris. Of course, Lando's taken 3 victories this year, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Charles Leclerc, like I said, starting on those medium compound tyres, so he should be a little bit vulnerable early on in this race. Just don't know whether Ferrari, I mean it's Ferrari, who knows what they were thinking there, but Charles going to try and just position the car slightly defensively, nowhere near defensively enough, and we'll be back up to where we started then on just lap 3. There we go, another new fastest lap to start lap 4, helped of course by the DRS, but yeah, Gasly still just within range of Lando Norris, but luckily for us it does seem like these top few cars are spreading out a little bit. George Russell further back, still trying to apply pressure to Oscar Piastri. I think he's pulled off that move. So both of our cars are making progress. Oh, I'll be really brave there, using the DRS right the way through the final corner. The back end can go very, very light, but the speed advantage noticeable as we head back down in towards turn 1 there. Pierre Gasly, often straight line speed has not been particularly great for us this year, especially when the AI have got DRS, but we make it through as Lando Norris seems to be closing up to Sergio Perez at the front of the field. Yeah, now we might have to defend a little bit from Pierre there, as though no, he makes a bit of a mistake at turn 4. Right, well, trying to apply more pressure to Lando Norris. Certainly had my fair share of battles with him over the course of this season, but now we know we can run the DRS right the way through the final, sorry, the ERS even. We know we can try to apply more pressure to these AIs to the outside of Lando, back in towards turn 1. Probably not going to be able to do anything here. We'll try and do the old up and under though, and we'll read him like a book. To the inside through turn 1, then we'll swoop back through, ready for the apex of turn 3. And we're now up at a P2 then of this Grand Prix. It has been swift progress early on here. George Russell is also doing the same further back there, still trying to apply some pressure to Daniel Ricciardo, who despite being on the softer tyres is falling away from his teammate. But yeah, George just trying to wind up and then make the moves. Of course, all he needs to do, really, is finish P2 behind us. He could win the World Championship today. I kind of forgot to mention that early on, as yellow flags out. Someone's got issues. That is going to be, I think, Daniel Ricciardo dropping to the wayside then here in Portimao. So that's another freebie for George. I'm in a P6. The gearbox creeping up towards 70% wear, though, in this GP, because we cross over 1/4 race distance. Be all over the back of Checo Perez as we head back down towards turn 1. DRS enabled then. Is the Mexican going to go defensive in towards the first corner? No, he's not. Oh, but he actually brakes very, very late there through turn 1. Swoops back around the outside of us. So clearly, Checo is not going to make this easy as we absolutely clobber the curb through turn 3. Try and get on the power nice and early at the top of the hill. But again, we're not going to be close enough to really go for anything. Whoa, especially not if I lock up like that. Checo lives to fight another day. And now I'm learning that that curb is in fact lethal. Or that corner even, I should say. Was not expecting that and had no issues with it so far this afternoon. And suddenly, we've got a whole lot more work to do. Down into P7 of the Portuguese Grand Prix, and that is not handy. Cannot believe that. Like I said, I've had no issues with that corner all weekend, but apparently it's still as horrible as it was on F1 2021. Well, we were trying to apply pressure to one Red Bull, but now we're trying to find a way around the other one as we wind our way through these final couple of hairpin turns once again. Trying to just get as little aero wash as we possibly can from the back of Teo Porcher, but rounding our way through the final corner. Hopefully we're going to be able to open up the DRS once again, which we will, for the inside of the young Frenchman, of course, our former teammate in this series. And he's not going to put up too much of a fight then in that scenario. Back into P6 of this race, but 4 seconds now the gap. And it's against our teammate and big title rival. His tyre wear warning light has flashed up as well. That is really early, much, much earlier than I was expecting.
Here's some information on Russell for you. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
No, George Russell again then, despite putting fresh power unit components in the car this weekend. He's incredibly slow. Is George Russell out of the Portuguese Grand Prix, or has he just got a puncture? Don't really know what's going on there. He must have a puncture, surely, as Norris and Pierre Gasly both into the pit lane then. And yep, George Russell, yeah, has definitely got a puncture in this Grand Prix, so that's going to cost him a mad amount of time then. We're going to have to box at the end of this lap. Don't really know what tyres to go on to, though. Do we go mediums? Surely. We'll have to go hard tyres, though. I don't believe these mediums will be able to do 21 laps in this Grand Prix, so Charles Leclerc might have actually made a really wise choice starting on those mediums, but yeah, suddenly this race once again gets turned on its head. Well, let's ride on board then with George Russell in through the final sector of this lap. You can see all over the back of Charles Leclerc here. And, yep, you can just see that front right tyre has completely gone down. So very, very uncommon thing to happen in F1 22. But George Russell, the bad luck this weekend there, really not what he wanted. You can see we fly around the outside of him. This could be massive for our World Championship hopes. If the AI can somehow find a way to do a one-stop medium, soft to medium around this circuit, I will never, ever understand F1 22 there. But Sergio Perez is into the pit lane then. Make sure we get the car slowed down nice and tidy. Of course, Portier will stay out there, and Perez is going mediums. Surely they can't go that far on that compound of tyres there. But now the maths is really going to have to come into play between myself and George in this Grand Prix, because neither of us look like we might be able to win this one, to be honest. We're going to need a mega stint on these hard compound tyres to see us through to the flag. We are going to re-emerge, though, nicely ahead of Russell. But down into P9, then, of this Grand Prix. Like I said, yeah, there's going to be a lot of maths later on, trying to work out where we both stand there. Has got to get these tyres up to temperature, as Russell appears now to have lost the place to Bottas, so really struggling as our teammate. Takes him into the pits, though, at the end of lap 13, so back into P8 we go. I think there's still 3 or 4 more cars out here that we're waiting on boxing, so I don't think we're going to be far down the order. I think Russell, though, his temporary issue might just have been with that puncture. So, yeah, now it is just going to be a case of both of us on a bit of a fight back. 15, Albon into the box. New fast lap of the day for ourselves as well. So now we are really motoring. I think our battle for the win is still with Perez. And he's probably, what, 11, 12 seconds up the road, so we still need to push quite a lot between now and the end. Of course, theoretically, the tyres should come towards me as they absolutely destroy their sets. And one lap further on, then Yuki Tsunoda peels into the pit lane then. So interesting to see that a lot of these medium runners are already able to take their tyres about 16 laps maximum. A couple of them are going slightly longer. Teo Portier still is kind of the benchmark in this race, as Red Bull have actually got a 1-2 at the moment. But yeah, we're not really taking any time out of Lando. Gotta hope it comes towards us. It'll probably be in the final 10 laps or so. There we go. Charles Leclerc has re-emerged in P3 of this GP. Are we going to be out ahead of Portier? Yes, we are. So we're back into P5 then of this race. So if the race were to finish here, we'd score 10 points, or 11 even, because of the fastest lap. George Russell would walk away with 4, so the gap would be halved down to 7 points heading into Brazil. Every place we gain can give us a huge potential momentum swing. This is far from over. This is a really, really critical race. Ooh, yellow flag's out. One of the Aston Martins has gone. That, I don't think, is really going to change much here. Well, now at 2/3 distance here this afternoon, and we are all over the back of Pierre Gasly. Unfortunately, though, he is closed in on Charles Leclerc. We seem to be the only driver on the hard compound tyres at the moment that is not really struggling for pace there. Portier has fallen back into the clutches of Bottas as another new fastest lap of the day. 1:18.118. So we head back down in towards the first corner and make it very, very clear to Sergio Perez we're not messing around. And we're back into P4 then of this Grand Prix. Now it would be 13 points we'd score here against George Russell's 4. It would bring the gap down to 5 points in the Drivers' Championship. George still just seems to be stuck behind Bottas, though, a bit further back. So the Flying Finn might have cost me a World Championship last year, or 1-1 instead of me. Well, be about to save me in this one. And the roof alert going slowly through the final couple of corners, letting Charles Leclerc and I by. Luckily, he's done it before Leclerc could try and get some DRS off him, so we might be able to get a run on Charlie Boy back down towards turn 1. I've only just noticed as well the gap to Perez and Lando starting to come down as well, but using plenty of battery as we head back down towards turn 1. We're just about going to get to the inside of Charles Leclerc there, and a big risky lunge makes the position our own, and back into the podium places then of the Portuguese Grand Prix. Now we'd score 16 points to George Russell's 4. The gap would be down to 2. Really unsure whether these hard compound tyres would be the way to go late on in the day, but another new fastest lap. I don't know how we're managing this, but these tyres are working really, really nicely. We are not out of this battle for the win just yet. 10 laps remaining, 6 seconds to Sergio Perez. If we could win this, that would have a huge swing in the title fight, and I think for the first time in a very, very long time, we'd actually be leading.
Seconds.
Well, the rate we're going, we are going to catch Lando and Checo with just about 2 laps left of this Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc is falling back by slightly less each lap, so he is technically closing the gap in on the top 2, but yeah, it is going to come down to the wire here, I think, as long as we can maintain this pace. But surely those medium tyres are bleeding, as that is a nice double front lockup that's going to cost me a bit. Oh, looks like Lando Norris has been really badly held up by a couple of back markers on this lap, so it's given Checo a little bit of breathing room in front of him. We are just able to carry so much speed through this middle sector. But yeah, now we've got to hope that Stroll and Drugovich get out of the way of myself quite nicely through the final few corners. It's going to allow us, yeah, like I said, to get much closer to Lando much earlier on than I was expecting late on in the day. But we're round 1. Are we going to get the DRS of Felipe Drugovich? I'm not convinced we were close enough. We might just have been, actually. Yes, we have. It's just those little bits of free time that can make all the difference late on in the Grand Prix there. Lando Norris 2 seconds up the road. Sergio Perez less than 4. And we've got 5 laps to go of the Portuguese Grand Prix.
So try to keep the number of shifts to a minimum, please.
Yeah, I'm on it, Mark. I've been on it most of the afternoon. We've been trying to just a short shift out of the corners and not use too much engine brake. Of course, we've got to a certain degree, but the gearbox should make it to the checker flag here. It's only sat just over 70%, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 70% exactly at the moment, so we shouldn't have to worry about it too much. If I'm losing tyre grip, surely the cars in front of me are going to be struggling a whole lot more. Well, going hards rather than mediums might be the best decision I've made on F122. It goes against pretty much everything I've learnt on this game up to this point, but is really working for us at the moment. 3 laps to go of the Portuguese Grand Prix. Lando Norris, we're inside the DRS range. Now is another new fastest lap. Sergio Perez just 2 seconds clear up at the front. We're not going to be close enough to Lando in towards 1, but we might be able to get a run down in towards turn 5, as we've just got to try and make sure that we stay close there. You can see how much he's sliding around on those medium compound tyres. We'll open up the ERS nice and early, get on the DRS as well, but we're not going to be close enough this time round, despite going purple through that first sector. It is going to have to be down in towards turn 1 on the penultimate lap of this race. Here we go. 2 laps remaining. You can see Lando Norris, those tyres must be absolutely wrecked on that Alpine car. We'll use the battery as we wind our way out of the final corner up towards the start-finish line. Surely now this is going to be a done deal, and into P2 of the race here in Portugal. Down the inside of turn 1, nice and even on the brakes there. We just sit on the apex, don't allow the Alpine car anywhere to go. And live points update then. If things were to finish as they are, George Russell still in 8th. We would head to Brazil with a 1-point lead in the championship, courtesy of that fastest lap bonus. Let's try and get Checo and give ourselves a proper title lead. Starting the final lap then of the Portuguese Grand Prix, 1 second between myself and Checo Perez here. We have to try and find a way around the Mexican, but it is going to be very, very difficult. We know most of our advantage comes in Sector 2 and Sector 3, but if we could somehow get within the DRS every little bit of time, can make such a world of difference. Those mediums must be absolutely screaming late on in the day as we try and hang on to the car up through turn 4. You can see over 40% tyre wear on these hards, so who knows what those mediums are on at the moment there. So we've just got to be careful on the throttle around this final lap, drain the battery, and just pray that we get any sort of opportunity to try and move around the Mexican here. As you can see, he's struggling just up in front there. This has been one corner where we've constantly been able to go quicker, and we do take even more time out of him. But surely we're not going to find an opportunity through these final few corners here in Portimao. Sergio Perez might just, and this could have huge championship implications there. You can see just how hard we're working to try and keep the car in check. I've got no idea how the AI have been able to manage that one-stop strategy today, but through the final couple of corners, we're still not going to be able to win 3 races a row in F122, but out of the final turn, Checo Perez is going to take the win, but we are going to lead the title.
Great work, well done. We're really happy with the podium here, well done.
It's a performance that our Portuguese Grand Prix winners can be justifiably proud of. And I'm sure there'll be celebrations tonight. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we could talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those that we've witnessed today.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here. Mr. Monaco takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as shown a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
With that result, the sport's newest team can no longer be touched at the top of the table. What an incredible journey this has been for a team many had written off a short time ago. They are the Formula One World Champions. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Portuguese Grand Prix, and could half a second for the second season in a row define a World Championship here. Sergio Perez takes the win ahead of ourselves there. Lando Norris P3 ahead of Charles Leclerc. Gasly, Porsche, Bottas all finish ahead of George Russell. It was really not a good weekend for the team that we needed there. But, yeah, as Crofty mentioned, we do take the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Ocon in 9th ahead of Zhou Guanyu, rounding out the top 10 there. Ocon actually a very good drive from 19th on the grid. Just Ricciardo, who didn't make it to the checkered flag this weekend there. Championship-wise, 1 point. At least we know, unless George Russell and I collide, that it won't be decided by a single point as we leave Brazil next weekend. But we have worked so hard to get ourselves back in this position, ready for the final race of the campaign. Of course, George Russell, we both had a bit of bad luck over the course of the Portuguese Grand Prix, but it is certainly going to be a barnstorming finish to the Formula One World Championship. We've somehow clawed back a 39-point gap in just 3 races here. Constructors-wise, so of course, that's all wrapped up. Red Bull have basically now guaranteed themselves P2. To be honest, it looks like everyone now is locked in, unless one of the backmarker teams can have an absolute miracle run in the Sao Paulo finale. But 709 points for the team as well is an absolutely monumental haul. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we will return by the end of the week ready for the championship finale. You guys do not want to miss it. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.